fair warning, this is going to be even more of a ramble than these videos usually are, and that is because the subject that I'm going to be discussing in this video is something that I actually haven't completely made up my mind about yet. Tomorrow, Tuesday, April 26th, is my primary election. I live in Maryland. Maryland's primary is tomorrow. And I want to show you something before I get into it too much. This is something that's kind of cool that I'm actually a little bit excited about because it's a little different than what I've done up to this point in my life. This past December, for the first time ever, I became officially a registered Democrat. Up until then, I had been registered unaffiliated, which is also an option here in Maryland. But I decided that I wanted to have a voice in choosing our presidential candidates. Maryland has a closed primary, so if you are not registered in a party, you don't get to vote in the primary. I mean, there are a couple of nonpartisan elections, like local elections, school board, and things like that, that you can vote in if you are not registered with a party. But for the most part, if you're registered unaffiliated in Maryland, you don't have much of a say in choosing the candidates for major offices, including president. So I registered as a Democrat, and here I'll put my finger over my address, but right there is my voter registration card. And as you can see, probably not, but anyway, there it is. Registered Democrat, Steve Shives. And of course, having registered Democrat for the sole purpose of voting for a Democratic presidential nominee this time around, now I'm having trouble making up my mind who to vote for. And the reason why I'm having trouble making up my mind, it's actually a good reason. I mean, it's one of those problems that you want to have. But I think both candidates are pretty damn good. I would be thrilled to have Hillary Clinton as the Democratic nominee. And I would be thrilled to have Bernie Sanders as the Democratic nominee. I am not strongly partisan toward either one of them. I have friends, both in real life and online, who are very strongly partisan toward one side or the other. I have friends who I respect and admire and look to for guidance at times who are staunchly pro Bernie Sanders, who in some cases are of the Bernie or bust mentality, who feel like they would not vote for Hillary in the general election. If it's not Bernie, then they're just not going to vote for anybody, which is not a position I find terribly reasonable. But people who I respect hold that position. And I also have people on the other side who are very, very strong, ardent, enthusiastic supporters for Hillary Clinton. To me, the choice is not obvious. I know to many of you watching, perhaps, the choice is obvious. Some of you are probably watching this going, how can he not have decided? How can he possibly be considering voting for Hillary? Or how can he possibly be considering voting for Bernie Sanders? I know there are probably people in both factions watching this video. And that's part of the reason why I'm making this video. Because I'm having such trouble deciding. And because, as of this recording, I have not yet decided, and will probably not have decided for sure by the time you are watching this on Monday, I would like to ask for some of you to share your input with me. If you have a strong position on whether it should be Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders, if you are a fellow American and you either have voted for one of those two already, or you are living in a state where you haven't had your primary yet and you are intending to vote for one of them or the other, I would like for you to share with me in the comments of this video why you have decided to vote for either Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders. I'm not interested in character assassination. I'm not interested in here's why Hillary sucks and nobody should ever vote for her. I'm not interested in here's why Bernie sucks and nobody should vote for him. I'm interested in positive cases. If you think Hillary is the best candidate, for whatever reason you think that, I would be interested in knowing why you think that. If you think that Bernie is the best candidate, I would be interested to know why you think that Bernie is the best candidate. And I'm going to read those comments, and I'm going to be really curious to see what you folks have to say. I'm going to take it under advisement, because just as I often say at the start of my An Atheist Reads series, I really feel like hearing what other people think can be a great starting point, or in my case, maybe a turning point in your thinking. So I'm not necessarily wanting to be pitched to. I'm not necessarily wanting you folks to try to persuade me to vote for one or the other. I'm more interested in your personal experiences and your personal thoughts and feelings. Why, if you have gone toward one candidate or the other, what has led you in that direction? And those of you who are watching from outside the U.S., if you have been following American politics and you have a strong preference for Bernie Sanders or Hillary Clinton, I would, of course, be very interested to hear what you have to say, too. I know I happen to have a lot of viewers and even friends who live outside the U.S. who are very interested and follow American politics very closely and have some strong feelings about Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders and which one would be the best choice. So please, feel free to jump in, you folks as well. One other thing I wanted to share with you in this video, because I don't want it to just be me giving you a comment prompt. That's not much of a video. I found a website that I think has both made my decision easier and more difficult, because it allows me to see the differences between Clinton and Sanders, but it also has shown me that both of them, at least again from where I'm sitting, both of them are pretty good candidates. And I want to show you the website. The website is right here, and it's a really, really cool website that if you know about it already, then I'm telling you something you already know. But if you don't, and you're also maybe in a situation where you're not sure who you're going to vote for, it could be helpful to you as well. It is a website called Ballot Ready. It's ballotready.org. And if you enter your zip code and your address, it will bring up a virtual representation of the ballot that you will have when you go to your polling place. And it's not just for president, it's for all of the offices that you will be eligible to vote for when you go to your election. But for our purposes, I'll stick with the presidential election. And since I am voting in the Democratic primary, I will be voting for either Bernie Sanders or Hillary Clinton. And it lists it lists their experience. It lists the various endorsements that they have received, and it then breaks down their positions on major issues like banking regulations, criminal justice reform, election reform, healthcare, higher education, immigration, workers' rights, etc. And you can click on each subject and you can compare side by side their positions on bank regulations. And you can see here it says Bernie Sanders believes the Federal Reserve must eliminate its internal conflicts of interest and insists that the banks serve the economy in a way that works for everyone, supports breaking up the largest financial institutions. And then on the Hillary side, which is probably going to be incredibly troubling for a lot of people and maybe one of the reasons why they would not support Hillary, it says no stance information currently available. Ooh, not good for Hillary. But we turn to, let's say, criminal justice reform. And we see Sanders says turning back the failed war on drugs, taking marijuana off the federal government's list of outlawed drugs, supports requiring police departments in states to collect data on all police shootings and deaths that take place while in police custody and make that data public. Sounds great to me. Hillary supports legislation to end racial profiling by federal, state, and local law enforcement officials, supports reducing mandatory minimum sentences for nonviolent drug offenses, supports reinstatement of the assault weapons ban. Excellent, good for Hillary. So you can compare and contrast their platforms on various major issues. Now, I know not everybody makes their choices purely on the platforms of the candidates. A lot of the opposition to Hillary is based on feelings that she represents the establishment, or she is corrupt, or she is in the pocket of Wall Street. And of course, that is not reflected in her policy positions, at least not directly. And some people would rather not vote for Bernie, not because they disagree with any of his policies, but because they feel that his proposals are not practical, that he has not demonstrated an ability or drawn us a reasonable roadmap for how he is going to achieve these many proposals that he has made. He makes a lot of really awesome sounding proposals like free college education for everybody and universal health care. And those are all things that many of us liberals would love very much to see. But the problem is, how are we going to make that happen? So that's not really necessarily reflected in the list of policies and the things in Bernie's platform either. So it's not the perfect tool. It might not help everybody make up their mind if the reason why you have trouble deciding has nothing to do with their policy proposals. But if that sort of thing is important to you, as it is important to me, then I think this website, ballotready.org, could be a big help. And it's also a big help if you use it to look at your state or your local races, which often don't get nearly as much attention as the presidential races, even in local media. So if you're going to vote for, say, members of your local school board, you might not know where they stand on relevant issues. And this might be a place where you can go to find out. So I would highly recommend, if your primary election is coming up soon, or if you're trying to decide who to vote for in the upcoming general election, this website, ballotready.org, is a really, really excellent resource that I would highly recommend that you use. So for me, it has really helped me make up my mind, because I look at Bernie Sanders' platform, I look at Hillary Clinton's platform, and I think they both sound excellent. I also weigh the baggage that each of them brings to the race, and they each have baggage. Neither of them is a perfect candidate. That's why I reject this idea that one of them is terrible and the other one is a savior. I see that more on the Bernie side of things. There are some Bernie supporters who seem to think that if we elect Bernie Sanders, he will fix everything, or he is the only acceptable candidate of all the people running. And I just don't feel that way. I think Bernie would be a terrific nominee and would be a terrific president, but I don't think Bernie's perfect. I think Bernie has his flaws. Same thing with Hillary. Hillary absolutely comes with baggage. She is not a perfect candidate. There are reasons to not vote for her, but there are also lots of reasons, from where I sit, to vote for her. So I think she would be a terrific candidate, a terrific nominee, and a terrific president as well. So I'm having trouble deciding, is what I'm trying to say, is what I've been saying for this entire video. And I apologize, even though I gave you a fair warning at the beginning, that this has been a rather rambling off Monday ramble. So to reiterate what I said at the top of the video, if you have made up your mind, if you are going to, or you already have voted for the Democratic nominee, and or you have a very strong preference for one or the other, please leave a comment and let me know what your thinking has been. Let me know if you have decided I'm definitely Bernie or bust. What has led you to that conclusion? Or maybe not even Bernie or bust, just pro-Bernie. And if you have decided that as far as Hillary Clinton goes, you're with her, then let me know what led you to that conclusion, because I am genuinely curious, and I think it will help me make up my own mind. And whoever I do end up deciding to vote for, I will let you folks know who it was, because I feel like I'm sort of obligating myself in some way to do that, because I've asked you to share your experiences with me, to share who you voted for with me, or who you are going to vote for with me, and I owe it to you, I think, having done this, to share with you who I vote for. So after I vote for one of these two people, one of these two excellent candidates, I will let you know who I voted for and what ultimately led me to make my decision. So, okay, deal? You show me yours and I'll show you mine. That's I shouldn't have said that. That ruined the whole thing. It makes it sound dirty now, and it's not. I mean, democracy is kind of dirty at times, unfortunately, but it shouldn't be. Should it? See, it's really rambling now. I'm just going to go. I'm going to leave. Thank you very much for your help. See you next time. Hey, one more thing, folks. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like it and share it and subscribe to this channel if you're not subbed already. And also, please consider helping me to make more videos like this one by supporting this channel through Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/Steve Shives to become a patron. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time.